went to my mom's house for dinner, and the cops showed up, and they're like, "Hey, you're going to boarding school, and you're either going to go with your dad or you're going to go with us." And so I ended up.
Yeah, we get recognized here and there, like usually at bars or like sometimes we'll walk around the swap meet. Yeah, we'll oh my God, this is my mayor.
Yes. The people's
He knows our people, dog.
I got a Pounder story.
Yes. Pounder story.
When I was 18, I would rather go back to jail because you have more.
That
What?
is the
And we were
worst.
cruising it up and down the street, and then it's like, well, why don't we just steal the principals when we're at school? And so right before school started one morning,
Are we not getting music for the intro anymore? Do we not do that anymore around here? Do we change the way?
Yeah. I just get scared because of copyright, you know?
Well, okay, you're right. Never mind.
You know?
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, if you want me to go, I could do
No.
Stop,
No.
no.
Stop your little DJ set over there.
No.
All right, ready?
Oh, you got him started. He's looking through.
Are you really gonna look it up? We usually start with a little bit of music just to kind of. That's the first beat that came to mind. Dude, you would go dead at EDC right now. You would. People would be booing.
Love EDC.
Boo.
Oh, if you was a DJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Hold up. I'm about to look it up on my.
Hold on, I disconnected my phone. Hold on.
What's the Bluetooth?
Yeah.
All right. Any day now. You're an idiot.
some royalty music.
Yeah. Well, Your Honor.
That's right. Hey, you told me. Hey, fool, you told me, dog.
Welcome back to another episode of Porque, because the #1 podcast in Escondido, California. And today we are honored and privileged to be in the presence of the one, the only, the mayor of our beloved city, Escondido, California. The one, the only, Mr. Dane Michael White.
I will say that's the best entrance I've ever got.
Just fireworks in the background.
Oh yeah, you can add that actually.
Yeah,
add the fireworks there. Look,
On social media, I call myself the city president, so that was perfect.
oh my
there you
God,
go.
that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's such a
Bald eagle right now.
yeah. Can you have a bald eagle pass by right now?
It's going by right now. There you go.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Porque, because the #1 podcast in Escondido, California. And now I told you guys that I would get proof, and I told you guys that I would make it official that this is the #1 podcast, and there's no other way to do it than by having the mayor himself. Welcome, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks for having me. that was
doubted us.
by far the best opening to a podcast I've ever been on.
I'm just saying, if you ever want me to go to City Hall before you look, this is what I'm saying. I'm gonna go up there and be like, listen, the mayor is coming, so I'm gonna need you to stand up right now.
What is it? What's that one on Key and Peele when Barack Obama has a backup?
I could be your backup. Yeah, we'll figure that out.
Yeah. We'll help the homeless people.
Homeless people, yeah, y'all about to get help. Welcome back, guys. Yes, we do have the mayor. We're very honored. First of all, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
I love doing stuff like this, so thanks for having me.
I know, it's awesome. And if you guys don't know, we do 30 minutes of Spotify beforehand. That is called our foreplay. So if you go to Spotify and you search Porque, because you will get 30 extra minutes that we have not posted and will not post on YouTube. We will only post it on Spotify. And there is 2 very, very cool stories that the mayor shared with us that if you don't go there, you're missing a gem.
You're not gonna get any of these jokes.
Yeah, you will not get any of these jokes. So if you want to be in the jokes, go to Spotify, give us a like, give us a comment, let us know what you think, and then you will understand the rest of this episode. Yes, welcome, Mayor. First of all, it's such an honor to have you.
Yes.
It's so cool that you're willing to do these things.
For sure.
We're really happy. Obviously, you are the mayor of the city we grew up in. So that's pretty cool, I think. And you grew up in as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I always tell people, like, there's three of the best events in my life. The day I got married, the day I had kids, And the day I won the election.
Yeah, there we go.
Should I play the music back again?
No, we're done. We're done.
Okay, my fault.
Yeah, no, I think it's really cool, especially being. You said earlier though that you have 100-year line of people of your family being in Escondido.
So I'm 5th generation. The city was actually incorporated in 1888. My family came in the 1890s.
Wow.
So right after that.
So do you have like those like? Is there any of those like pictures of like any early pictures of Escondido?
Oh yeah. So in my office, on the wall in my office is one of the old long high school class, Escondido class. I don't remember what year, but early. And it's my great grandfather in the class.
Wow.
And then I've got other photos. My dad's house is out on off Fig, and there are pictures of the White family farm where now it's just houses.
Yeah.
It's all houses.
Wow, that's crazy. I actually went to Barnes and Nobles, and you know how they have those old Escondido books and stuff like that?
Walgreens has them too.
Oh, yeah, they do,
Yeah.
And then I was like looking at the Great Bay Park Parade. Like back in the day, it was literally a horse and cart, just like, and then the little cheerleaders going out there. I was like, dang, like Escondido was really that, man.
Dude, there's a lot of good history here.
That's crazy. Did you meet your great grandpa?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
So they were obviously old when I met them, but I still remember going to their house.
That's awesome.
They lived in a mobile home community off El Norte.
Oh, wow. So you've seen it all at this point.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
And that's my dad's side. My mom's side is kind of an interesting story because they came from Italy to New Jersey to Escondido, and I think it was my great-grandmother got here and didn't speak any English.
Wait, so you're Italian?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense right now. Everything.
Was that fucked up?
I don't know.
Was that racist? I don't want to sound racist.
Yeah, you could throw a burrito in there any moment through the podcast. We won't be
I
offended.
can't do that on camera. I don't want to get canceled.
Oh, I've been canceled.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
been
he got
canceled.
canceled earlier too. Yeah,
Right on.
yeah.
I had okay.
It happens.
Can we? Okay, it's okay. We've told everyone. Okay.
The mayor doesn't know my story though.
Okay,
I want to have his opinion too.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's true. He
Yeah.
needs an yeah. You need.
We
So-
okay.
I have the power to uncancel you.
Oh, take
So
that!
I'll decide.
Take that!
He's got a mayoral pardon.
Yeah, dude. I know the mayor.
Hey, but don't take advantage of it.
Yeah,
too,
don't take advantage.
Don't
Some
take
of the things you say.
I get pulled over. I know the mayor.
That's not gonna help.
God damn it. Here's 2 tickets. No, but I have this opinion. I'm not like Selena Quintanilla, the singer. I'm like, if she wouldn't have died, I don't think she would have been that big of an artist. And I got roasted.
So he said that the late '90s singer Selena Quintanilla, which is Selena, she died in like I don't know, like
Well,
early,
she
got
got
shot and died in early '90s. At the peak of her career in the Hispanic community, she became like this big icon, and you ask any chola out there, and she's like, "Oh my God, Selena is gonna be the best ever," and whatever, right? But
I should have said it.
yeah. What happened is that he expressed that on the podcast. Of course, I clipped it, posted it. It went super viral, and it got nasty in the comment sections.
My weight was thrown around a lot.
It doesn't. I can tell you this much: it doesn't matter what you put on the internet.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna find an issue with it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I
But
got roasted.
with that being said, was Selena overhyped after her death, or did she get what she deserved with the fame that came after?
Okay. I was just saying, she didn't get what she
No,
deserved.
okay,
I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
Or did she? No. That's not what I
This
meant.
took a
Cholas.
right
Now
turn.
you're getting canceled.
Yeah. Cholas, relax. That's not what I meant at all. But what does the mayor think of this situation?
You know what? I don't have an opinion. I'm sorry.
That's even better. Thank you.
that's a
That's
political-
I don't know the
Correct
singer.
answer.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
good answer.
That's a political response, and I perfectly agree with it. Yeah, but he's in your side, buddy. It's okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're pardoned.
Yeah.
You hear that, Selena fans?
I love that. I love that you pardoned him on it.
Yeah, just like,
So,
good pardon.
Dane, you have an amazing story. You have a crazy upbringing. I think it's only fair to start with the way you grew up. What part of town did you grow up in? And how was it growing up in Escondido in an earlier childhood? How was that?
Yeah, man. I had a great childhood, to be totally honest with
That's
you.
awesome.
And my dad still lives in the house that I grew up in.
Oh, that's so
at
cool.
North Fig, basically where Fig meets Sheridan.
I know.
You know, I came from previously broken family. It got broken again when I was in it. But my parents at one point, my mom worked 3 jobs and my dad worked 3 jobs just to make sure I could go to private school
That's
in town.
awesome. Yeah.
Excellent parents, but at some point that just kind of all fell apart. I think once I left private school and went to public school, for some reason something switched.
Yeah,
all of a sudden,
that's where they're like, nah, you know what? We tried our best, but this is as far as we're going with this.
and that's not a knock on public school either. There's plenty of kids that go through with no
100%.
issues.
Yeah, no, I get it. And you end up going to Escondido High School?
Yeah, so I think I did 8th grade at Rincon Middle School. Then Escondido High School, my freshman year. I think at the end of my freshman year, I passed 2 classes, and that was PE and math.
Nice.
Already behind sophomore year, and then like we talked about earlier, stole the golf cart, got suspended.
Yeah, go listen to Spotify if you guys want to hear
So
that
we can go over that again just because we get like different crowds on YouTube and Spotify. But you end up getting in trouble. What is it? Your sophomore year?
Yeah, I think my second week in school.
Wow.
Second week in school. Stole the principal's golf cart, took it for a joyride. That got me suspended, and during my suspension, ended up in Stockton, Missouri at boarding school.
Who decided to send you to boarding school?
My parents. And I guess that was a long time in the making because I had started experimenting with drugs and alcohol my freshman year. So they were already planning on something. I think that was just the straw that broke the camel's back.
How young were you when you started trying at least?
Well, I started smoking cigarettes when I was 11.
Jeez.
I tried my first one when I was 11, and I was smoking cigarettes by 12.
Like just ripping them through?
Yeah, pretty much. And then started drinking when I was 12 and 13.
You think it had to do with like, you see the correlation between like jumping into public school and then like that's kind of the timeline. Do you think that kind of had something to do with it?
Look, parents get divorced kind of out of nowhere. I get step parents that aren't exactly the greatest people in the world. I get put in a new school, and it's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Public school is where I found marijuana, so that didn't help. But yeah,
just like all of us. Yeah. Yeah.
It was a long time
Shout out
coming,
us.
so they sent me away. And ironically, that boarding school was just shut down by the federal government last year.
For what reason?
Abuse.
Wow. Did you experience any of that?
I did not experience any of the abuse, but I saw it all the time.
Yeah. Do you think you were just able to defend yourself, or maybe they saw you and was like, you know what, we're not?
I was very good at flying under the radar.
Nice.
Very good at flying.
How was the? Where was the boarding school you said?
Stockton, Missouri.
Missouri. Wow. How was that culture shock?
But it's kind of crazy because Stockton, I think, has 1,000 people in the whole town. But you go from Escondido to boarding school with 120 other young men, and I never left the campus. You're just there every day. So it was, that was a miserable experience. When you get there, they take away everything. They give you 2 pairs of jeans, 2 T-shirts, 2 collared shirts, 2 pairs of khakis, and then a snow jacket. And if you're
snow jacket.
If you're not,
what's snow?
if you're not in school, which school was a whole nother thing in and of itself, you did packets. You didn't have a teacher, so you went at your own pace, which was good for me. I made up all those credits in a record time. And when you're not in school, you're outside hauling rocks. So they dump a pile of rocks on the ground, and you get in a single file line and pick up as many as you can.
That sounds like the movie Holes.
I was
Exactly.
just thinking about that
Very
right now.
similar.
Wow.
Very similar.
Holes.
You walk, you drop them, and build a new pile, and you do that all day long.
Yeah, no wonder they got shut down, bro.
You're like, I'm tired.
That was the least of their problems.
I'm tired, Grandpa.
It's too damn bad.
Yeah.
I feel like obviously you weren't doing so good. That's why you got sent over.
For sure.
But
For sure.
does it sound like a little harsh? Is that like a little?
Looking back now and having talked to my parents, they even admit they didn't do as much research as they should have.
Yeah.
But I will say the situation was dire. Like I was getting in constant trouble at school with the law, lashing out at home, and they had to do something.
What age did you leave?
14.
Did you get arrested before at 14?
Yes.
Yikes.
For I say stolen a car. I took my mom's car for a joyride
Nice.
late one night.
My mom just didn't call. That was it. But I could have
Well,
easily.
that's a different situation.
Yeah.
Well, I took the car and I went and ding dong ditched somebody's house, and the parents. It's like 2 a.m, and the parents saw me driving off, so they called.
So you were rebelling all out at that point.
Oh yeah.
Would you say that's your? I don't want to say worst moment because obviously there's more things that happened. But right before you left, that was kind of a moment where you were just not in a good place.
Basically from 14 to 21. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. When do you come back from Missouri?
So I was there for a year and a half. This is kind of a cool story too.
Okay.
I was there for 19 months. When you're there for 18 months, let me backtrack. Every 3 months you get a visit from your parents. The first visit, you stay on campus. The second visit, you can go anywhere in the city. And then your privileges grow every time. And at a year and a half, you can go home for a week. So I flew home. We had a party at Round Table Pizza with family and friends.
Nice.
And then my parents were like, we don't want you in Escondido, so we're going to take a week vacation in Hawaii, and you're going to come with us.
Nice.
So grandparents gave us a bunch of spending money. One of my sisters was like, hey, you can have my cash if you don't want to go back to boarding school. A friend gave me some cash. So we're in Hawaii, and I'm planning my escape. And the week is up. We fly to L.A., and my parents stayed in Hawaii for another week. So I'm with my siblings. We're in L.A., and they watched me walk through security, and I sat down and just didn't get on the flight.
Wow.
Ended up taking a train back to Escondido. Went to a friend's house to get some sleep, and her mom flipped out, called my parents. So they came back from Hawaii a week later, and my dad said, hey, we're going to send you back. Do I need to send you back with an escort? Or are you going to go back by yourself? I said, no, I swear I'm going back. Fly to L.A. and was like, screw this.
I'm not going.
So I paid some dudes $250 to give me a ride from L.A. to Escondido.
Dude, you just kept coming back to Escondido.
You could have gone anywhere else.
This time I had a place to go.
Wow.
My sister at the time, see, I can tell this story freely now, but for years my parents didn't know this. So my sister was dating the owner of what was Fat Kid Tattoo.
Oh, yeah, right in there.
Okay, so I went to the tattoo shop, and he was like, oh, shit, you're not supposed to be here. And he hid me out at his house for like a month. And then my grandfather came and picked me up, took me to his house in Utah. So I was on every missing persons board in Escondido for like 4 months. Nobody knew where I was.
You were the kid at Walmart, right?
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
went to the bathroom?
Dude, here's what's crazy. Before I went into the tattoo shop, I have a friend pick me up. We go to the park, and she's like, hey, this guy Andrew is going to stop by, but he's not going to tell anybody he saw you. Fast forward like 2 years later, I see Andrew at a party, and he was like, dude, I saw you that day, and then like a week later, you're on the missing persons board at Taco Bell.
No.
He's like, wait, I just saw this guy. Is there a reward? Yeah, I just know where it is. That's crazy, man. So you were just you were all over, man. And it's crazy to hear that now. Obviously, we see you in a suit, your tie, you look nice, but to think of that kid back then, that's a lot.
Wild child.
Yeah.
And the only reason I even, it was the end of summertime. I'm living with my grandpa, and it was like, okay, I need to finish high school, so we'll call my parents and let them know I'm there. And they, at that point, were like, you're your grandpa's problem now.
Wow.
So just stay there.
How's living with your grandpa? Was it a little easier, maybe not as strict, maybe more lenient?
We talked about earlier, Panguitch, Utah. It's 1,000 people. I managed to find the 5 kids that were not Mormon and who drank and did drugs and immediately fell right back into all that. And I don't know, 6 months into living with him, he kicked me out. So I was actually, for a while, I slept in a wooden shed on the side of my friend's house.
Wow.
And I had a job. I was going to school, ended up graduating high school. Thank
Out there?
God. Yeah.
Nice.
And then right after graduation, I got into some trouble and was taken to juvenile hall. And at the end of my time, I was there for like a month, I'm standing in front of the judge, and she's like, all right, you're still a minor. You need to have somebody come pick you up.
Time out. Hold up. Time out. You're not even 18 at this point?
No.
Damn.
Oh, my God.
Just turned 17.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy, dude.
And I'll never forget that moment because the judge called my mom first. She was like, I'm not taking him. She called my dad. He said, I'm not taking him. And my grandpa was there in court and was like, I'm done. So they were like, we can't release you. I was renting a house and had a full-time job. And they were like, we can't release you. Sorry, you're a minor, so you're going to have to go in the foster care system.
Wow.
And do you know how many people are willing to take a 17-year-old young man from juvenile hall into their home?
Oh,
Not very many.
Yeah. No one's. It's like the puppy syndrome. It's like everyone takes the puppies. No one takes the full grown.
For sure.
And
my caseworker came by one day and she's like, I found a place for you to go. This guy runs this farm and you just work all day. I was like, hell no. I just went through boarding school. I'm not doing that again. Yeah. But I ended up in a really, really good home, a really good foster home. So I lucked out.
That's really good. Then how much after were you turning 18 at that point?
I was in foster care for a year, so
Yeah.
I turned 18 probably 8 or 9 months into that. Turned 18.
Do they just open the door?
No, you can stay in foster care, at least in Utah. You could stay till you're 21. But I turned 18, I had a full-time job, and I had a friend who wanted to rent an apartment, so I exited the system and lived on my own.
Nice. At that point, are you still using? Are you still finding yourself?
When I was in foster care, I didn't smoke a single cigarette. I never drank alcohol. I mean, I was as straight edge as it gets. The second I moved into that apartment and found out my next door neighbor was a drug dealer, it went south very quick.
I'll get you.
Did
Yeah,
you
I'll get you.
did you do that on purpose, or were they checking on you? Like, did you have someone that was like, I don't know, maybe piss testing or something like that?
No, you know what? The very first night I was there, I got up in the middle of the night in my pajamas. I was just in some shorts, no shirt, and I walked to the kitchen to get a drink. And the foster dad came running upstairs and was like, "Oh man, we have sensors all over this house, and we thought you were leaving, but like I see you're just getting water, so I'm gonna shut the sensors off." And I thought at that moment I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna give these people a hard time. I'm just gonna do what I'm supposed to do.
Wow. So just you think that obviously just to care, but do you keep in touch with that family at all?
I do. Unfortunately, he passed away. I went and
Oh.
spoke at his funeral. That was a couple of years ago, and I still do talk to my foster mom.
That's awesome.
That's
cool.
crazy. Like everything that was against you, like your parents said no, your grandparents said no. You're like, we're gonna put you here, we'll put you in juvenile. You went through all that. Other people would just shut down and be like, fuck life and fuck like I'm gonna just do my own. But you like
Persevered.
yeah, not to use a little bit more language, like you sacked up and be like, I'm not gonna give these people a hard time. They're willing to take me in.
Yeah.
And
For
I'm just
sure.
gonna-
Because you could have easily gone, you know what? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Sensor off. Let's run. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
no, I was, and I don't even know why. Just that moment in the kitchen, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do the right thing for now.
I mean, but sometimes you just, you get some, I mean, I know for a fact, sometimes shit's just going bad and it goes bad and it goes bad. Then when you get one little light of like, these are kind of nice, I'm just going to do the right thing today.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? I think that's kind of crazy, but you get your own apartment, then you hit it hard again.
Dude, within the first week, we're partying, go to the neighbor's house, and obviously he's selling drugs.
He's got the whole stock load.
And that is when everything spiraled out of control. We ended up, I didn't even get my things out of that apartment. I lost everything because we stopped paying rent. And basically from that moment to when I was 21, it was in and out of jail, going back and forth between Escondido and Utah, sometimes sleeping on the streets. Sometimes I'd have a couch, just like, sometimes I'd get a really good job and work hard for 3 months, and then I would just screw it all up again,
Yeah.
just going back to being an addict. And it was like that for several years. And then the very last time I got in trouble in Utah, I got arrested for public intoxication. And I'm talking to the judge, and she's like, this is the 4th or 5th time I've seen you. I think you have a problem, so we're going to send you to a counselor, and they're going to determine if you need to go to rehab. And I was talking to this counselor, trying to convince him, like, I don't have a problem. Like,
Wow.
the funny part is the public intox was for alcohol. I was never an alcoholic.
Just caught you at the wrong place, wrong time.
Dude, he was like, you definitely need to go to outpatient for 6 months. And instead of going to rehab, I was like, I'll just never come back to the state of Utah again.
Can't
and
catch
so
me
I
if I'm not
left.
here.
Yeah, exactly.
Still can't go to Utah.
And it wasn't long after that, I had an experience at a party I was at, ended up ODing, and I tell everybody this. Like, I didn't have anything to live for, but at that moment, I knew I did not want to die.
Yeah.
And so I Googled outpatient rehabs in Escondido, and sure enough, on the corner of Ash and Washington was the North County Inland Regional Recovery Center.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, which is now 7-Eleven. That's a
Yeah,
bummer.
I was gonna say it's not there anymore. I know. I heard one of your interviews and I kind of Google searched it to kind of get some info on it, and yeah, it's not there anymore. It's a bummer. Places like that aren't around, but yeah, and I feel like there's a difference between a lot of things. I think I think definitely at those moments we don't really admit to having a problem. Do you find yourself that looking back you were like, yeah, I didn't really own up to a lot?
Dude, I pushed everything off on other people. I was telling that counselor, I do not have a problem. I'm in
Wow.
control.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Which obviously was
Yeah.
Of course not.
Yeah.
backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody wants to like, no, I don't have a problem, but you really have a problem.
What's interesting though, that I remember that first day in rehab, and I'm sitting in this circle with all those other people, and there's guys, I'm 21, there's guys in their 50s and 60s, like, and you can just tell they're burnt.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, man, that this is what I'm going to end up like if I don't, like, fix this now. And I quit drinking, I quit smoking cigarettes, I quit drugs, all, like, right then.
You cold turkey.
Yeah, and it was hard.
I can't imagine.
Hard.
That's crazy. Wow, that's some balls, dude. Sometimes I tell myself I'm not eating McDonald's anymore, and I end up in the drive-thru, and I'm like, what am I doing?
I think McDonald's is a little different from hard drugs.
I know, but hey, chicken nuggets are my addiction, you know. Yeah. It's crazy. It's obviously this is a story that you've never shied away from saying this.
No.
You've never shied away from sharing this and telling people. I think there's people now that, especially our followers, that maybe didn't know you in this light. But why say this? Like, why tell people you went through some stuff that most people don't come out of? Why do you tell people this?
I think it's twofold. Like, when I was campaigning, I thought it was important to make sure I'm an open book. That way, 6 months down the road, somebody can't say, oh, look, he was in jail or he was in rehab. Like, it's all just out in the open. But on the flip side, you know, it's funny. One day, somebody called me an exception. Because I was telling this person, I came from a broken family. I had to go to rehab. I never went to college, all these things. And now I'm the mayor of Escondido. And they were like, well, you're the exception. It's like, if I'm the exception, everybody's an exception.
Right.
And everybody can do it. And that's why I share it, because who knows? You don't know who's listening.
Yeah.
You don't know who's going to look at this and say, if he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that you obviously, like you said, the exception. I don't even know if that's like an offensive way to say it, or maybe it's like a hard, like saying the exception. I was like, well, let's make more exceptions.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's tough. I'm happy you shared this. I'm really, really, really proud. I know maybe it doesn't mean much or say anything, or maybe it doesn't mean anything, but I'm proud to say that our mayor went through this.
Yes.
And I'm proud to say that our mayor understands more than many other people that are in a position like you are. You know what I mean? And it's cool. It's cool. But let's go ahead and we're gonna hit for a quick break. We're gonna go to a commercial break, and we will be right back.
I love the sign. That's official.
Oh yeah. You know, it's cool. It's funny because
OfferUp.
we did it
Actually,
like
Amazon.
to be funny or whatever. But then he's our editor. So then he's like, we used to do like the clap so he could sync the audio and the visual together. And then, by the way, if you ever need like some editing or you ever want like some stuff like that,
about that.
he's good shit. Like he's really good.
I'm all right.
I'll trade you some golf for some editing.
Oh,
dude.
oh, wait, hold on.
Dang, don't do this to yourself, because
Hey, I'm
You don't know
pricey,
what
by the
you're
way.
no, because
Pricey.
he'll be like, I want to go to Torrey Pines for.
I'm more into Nita's Ranch, or
Okay,
that's
okay,
dude.
but no, he does really good work.
Boulder
All
Oaks.
right.
He does really good work. So stuff like, I don't know, like for example, like I like a cruising grand video to post or something like that. If you want to do kind of low, what is it like?
It's like a little like montage of what's going on. Or like what,
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Yeah, and kind of catch you. I think it'd be nice to see like you with your family, and then have like cruising grand, and then other shots. Like, I don't know, I'm not the creative one, but you are.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's how we ended up with that, because he's like, you know what, I actually do need it. I was like, all right, then fucking use it.
Yeah.
It was just sitting up here just to be funny,
Yeah.
and then now we're actually using it for what
works.
it's. Yeah.
I'm gonna frame you an official pardon
Yes!
from my office, and
no.
you guys have to put it on the wall.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, our dude.
So fucking excited.
This was wet right now. He's
I'm
wet.
just gonna carry it everywhere.
You're an idiot. Don't do this. Don't do this.
I'm about to fucking run naked in this fucking right now.
Please don't.
I have a pardon.
I'm pardon.
He's even like, don't do that.
His
He's
training
like-
certificate for his electrical work. So that's funny.
I did. What is
Actually, up there, I don't know if you can see it on the top right, but above the chicken up top, there's my dad's first ever.
It's right next to the Manny Machado sign.
Yeah, the
little-
achievement award.
Yeah.
That's actually my dad's Employee of the Month award of his first job when he was in the United States in like 1995.
Oh,
I
that's
believe.
cool.
He got Employee of the Month his first month.
Right on.
Yeah, so we
dude.
keep from McDonald's. Yeah. So
We're nice.
So we put it up there. Yeah, we built the wall of memorable shit. Like that's my dad's jersey when he played baseball. We had him sign it.
That's cool.
That's my grandpa's cowboy hat. That's
Who's
his
the drummer?
That's right.
Right on.
Yeah,
dude.
he's a big drummer.
I was the drummer at the Nazarene Church in Escondido for a long time.
No
No
way.
way.
You hit the drums?
Yeah.
Nice, dude. Purdue.
Oh, he's gonna be riding with us everywhere
Yeah,
now.
let's not-
Golf,
Yeah.
drumming,
Golf,
all that.
I don't think you get it, Mr. Mayor, but we're not the ones you want to hang with. Let's keep a distance. All right, guys, welcome back. One of the things that really intrigued me once I started researching the mayor is knowing that the system of the mayoral candidates, when you were coming around, there was a long tradition of maybe more of an old school way of doing things in politics. You came in and you were like a breath of fresh air, and I think you're completely different than what we saw before. What the heck made you run for mayor?
Well, the plan wasn't even to run for mayor, to be totally honest with you.
And here we are.
I knew I was on the school board, had been for 6 years, and the plan was actually to run for city council.
Okay.
But then, like usually about a year before an election, you'll start to hear rumors about who's going to run for what office. And I'm Republican, nobody on the Republican side was stepping up. And I even called all the people who I thought would, and they all said no. So I was like, well, if nobody's going to challenge this guy, like maybe this is the way. And my campaign manager and my wife were both like, yeah, this is what we should do. But what's funny is the day we sent out the announcement email, I got the email and I opened it and my stomach dropped and I was like, I've made a huge mistake.
You're like, what
You're
the
like,
hell
what?
did I do?
It's like, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah, that's funny. Before I say anything, I've heard very good things about your campaign manager.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
So when I was running for school board, this would have been 10 years ago now, I was at this political event, and this 17-year-old kid came up to me and was like, I just got done interning for our assemblywoman. Do you want some help running your campaign? I was like, heck yeah.
Yeah.
And he is, not only has he run those 3, but he does all of the races now in Escondido, and he's never lost.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's the man.
These guys undefeated.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might need you for a Spotify award campaign. So
The funny part is, though, when you're running for office, particularly as high as mayor, the party, the county party that you belong to expects you to have like a professional campaign manager and team. And I got a lot of heat for not hiring anybody, but I didn't have any money to hire anybody, and this guy's doing it for free. So I did not get a lot of support from them because of that, but I knew like there's no other way.
yeah, especially someone that is hungry and
Oh,
wants
yeah.
to do it. You know, you get so many people that are like, yeah, you do it this way though, and just kind of goes with the flow. But again, coming back to your campaign and stuff like your initiative to just bring a new wave. The way you were honest, there's no way anybody else had done that. Did you ever doubt that was going to kind of bite you in the ass afterwards?
No, I realized at the very beginning, somebody said to me, you know, it's a good thing you're actually doing this because nobody can hold it against you later. And honestly, what you're seeing right here, right now is how I am with everybody.
Yeah.
Like there's no other side of me that's like a professional side or whatever. This is it. So, and I very much in life want to do things my way. And that was the other issue with hiring somebody professional. They were like, oh, you're going to need media training and all this stuff. And I was like, forget that. I'm me.
Yeah.
And take it or leave it.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, you definitely you're very yourself. There's no way around it. I think, you know, we all get very political during campaign season and we all want to be like, yeah, you know, I got this, I got that. And you see, you know, the politicians, you know, the way they carry themselves and kind of can't slip up. The more I look you up, the more I look up at your videos, the more I look up at your maybe your campaign videos or stuff like that. Your whole thing is just like, I would be like, who the heck is this guy? Like you never lied in any part of it. And that's so cool. I feel like that's not something we see very often. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of scumbags out there.
Yeah.
And let me say this. I can be a scumbag for sure.
I think we all got our scumbag in us. Yeah, and then we can all
come back in time.
And Spotify, we're honest.
No, it's Spotify. That's just YouTube. So you go through you put in, you say, I'm running, right? What happens next? What do you do?
So that was September of the year before, so 15 months or so before the campaign. And at the same exact time, I was in the middle of buying, so I was in flooring. I was buying another hardwood flooring company, trying to do that and run this campaign. And I knew immediately, everybody was like, you don't stand a chance, you're not going to win. And it was too difficult to juggle both of those things. And
Right.
I had an honest conversation with my wife, and I was like, look, I cannot do both of these, but if I don't do the job, I'm not making any money.
Yeah.
And so for about a year, I didn't make a dime.
Wow.
I just campaigned 24/7, and it crazy how things work out, because I didn't think I would even win, but then I found out that the guy who was selling me the business lied to me a bunch, and so like it was such a good thing
So
we made
you
that
could have made
decision.
a huge mistake by buying something like that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow. Wait, you're in flooring?
Yeah.
So
I'm
you
a flooring installer.
hardwood, carpet,
Any hard surface, just not tile.
Wow.
Tile's a bitch, dude.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's a separate
Bro.
license too.
Damn.
But for a year, man, I talked to anybody who would talk to me. I was on social media all day long, every day. If there was an event, I made sure I was at it. Street fairs, all of that stuff. And then we had a note card campaign. So we hand wrote and hand addressed about 8,000 note cards that we mailed out to voters.
You hand wrote?
Oh yeah, all of them.
Personalized? Would you write? What would you say?
Well, it was like 5 or 6 sentences talking about who I was, what I wanted to do, and asking for their vote.
You know it's off of SIPO, right? You don't have to like write them up.
Copy and
Dude,
print,
nobody
copy.
will open anything that doesn't look.
That's
You know,
true.
if it's printed on there, they're not going to open it.
Yeah, you're right.
So we hand addressed everything. And when I was at the street fair, I had people come up to me, be like, "Oh, I got your note card. I voted for you because of that."
It
that is
works.
so true. Like like what you said, a little bit off the. Marco just got a picture of the San Diego chicken, right? And it came with a hand note, like handwritten note. We thought it was pretty. Like, dude, he printed it out. He gets those all the time. Like, no, he wrote it and they made it 10 times as more special.
The personalization helped a bunch. But I'm not going to lie, that year was after everything we just talked about, running for mayor was the worst year of my life.
Even the teenage years, even the
By
rehab, all that.
I knew for certain I was not going to win, number one. I'm not making any money, so my family is struggling. Every time I talk to somebody who is like a known donor, they would be like, well, I don't think you're going to win, and I don't want to piss off the mayor, so I'm just going to stay out of it.
Wow.
And it was like that every day. And there was 3 or 4 times where I had given up. I quit. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. We're struggling. I can't do anything right.
Yeah.
So, like, I quit 3 or 4 times, and my wife would talk me into continuing on.
Damn.
Shout out to your wife, dude.
I know. Shout out to
Oh,
your
yeah,
wife.
for sure.
real.
She's a saint.
Dang.
I met her when I was in rehab. I was lucky she even gave me a chance.
She met you in rehab?
Yeah, so when I was in rehab, I met my new circle of friends.
How appealing. It's like, what do you have to offer?
What are you in here for?
See, I did this the right way. So I was friends with her sister first. She was in I started going to church. I was in that circle of friends, but then her dad started taking me mountain biking. And my wife was at BYU. I didn't even know her. So she comes home from college over the summer, and my father-in-law's like, hey, just so you know, my youngest is home from college. And
Wait, he told you that?
yeah, he was
Oh,
he was all excited. Like, my daughter's home, you're going to meet her, because I'm in tight with the family.
Oh, okay.
And I'm watching a movie with her sister, and she walked in, and I was like, I'm going to marry that woman. Instantly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
awesome.
That's so cool.
No, she took me for who I was, and yeah.
You did it the other way around. You won the family over,
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
and then you went. Now, okay, did you see pictures of her on the wall?
Yeah.
Okay, so you already had an inch of like,
I don't remember ever thinking twice about the photos, though.
Yeah.
Like, I just
Okay.
never thought about it.
I was like, because then you're like, ooh, okay. Do you mind if I stay for dinner longer?
Yeah.
And then you just start winning him over, and then
We were out mountain biking, and afterwards I asked her dad, I was like, hey, do you mind if I ask your daughter out on a date? And he was all in.
Yeah.
you I don't know how to say this, but you got a pair of balls. And I'm just like, I didn't go
Riz,
up to
bro.
my father-in-law until like, well, I was like, are you sure I got to meet your dad? I mean, is it like, we could just do this without meeting your dad? That's okay. Like,
Dude, I credit that family, primarily rehab, my church, and that family is what saved my life.
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's so awesome.
So she was my main support during the campaign. She's the only reason I made it across the finish line.
Wow, dude. Congratulations. That's awesome.
So she's out there talking you off the ledge, like, you got to keep going. You got to keep going.
There was two different times where I was so depressed and defeated, I didn't get out of bed for like 3 or 4 days. And she would just like come in and be like, all right, you can't just sit here and quit. Like
Right.
you have to keep going.
Right.
No,
At this point, are you still thinking about the changes that you could make in the city? Or is that just dude, I don't even know what the hell I'm doing here.
So, I ran on a platform, so I had like a general vision,
Right.
but I wasn't even giving it any thought because all I could think about was like, man, I'm not raising any money. I'm not getting any support. I'm not making any money for my family. Like
Yeah.
nothing is going right. And that's all I could think.
And it's different because, I always tell my wife, like, I'll live on a cup of noodle and a sandwich. I will figure myself out.
Oh, yeah.
Even if I got to eat once a day, maybe once every 2 days. But when you see, did you have kids at the time?
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, dude, that's tough because I can suffer, but to watch your kids suffer?
Yeah, so I had invested $30,000 to buy that business. So there was that. I put about $15,000 of my own money into the campaign, and then all of a sudden I wasn't working.
Damn.
So it was like the most stress I'd ever been through. But, similar to all that other BS we talked about earlier, I think that's what prepared me for this. And I think going through that campaign is actually what I needed for this job because now nothing stresses me out.
Yeah, dude, you're fucking resilient, man. I'm like, I'm just going. I don't think of myself as a public servant because I think it takes such a huge just out of body thinking of not thinking of yourself, but thinking of others. And I'm way too selfish. I'm way too, I gotta, if I'm not good, I'm sorry, y'all, but I gotta fix this first because I can't think of you until I fix myself up. So I think there is that admire on my end where like you can't be that selfish. And number 2, it's just the resiliency that you need to go through something like that. Cause I know for sure there's other people that do it, run for mayor or stuff like that as hey, what the hell? I got 12 million to burn. You know what I mean? Like,
If you want to move up in politics, mayor's the best platform, man. You win mayor, and now you can start thinking about state senate, Congress, all
Yeah.
of those things. And to be honest with you, I don't really have a desire to do any of that. So
that's crazy. That's wild. I would already be like, how much does a senator make? Let me go.
they actually asked me to run for state senate next year, and I declined.
Really?
Because you're in Sacramento for half the year. I wouldn't see my wife and kids, and
That's tough.
I just want to win re-election. This is by far the best job I've ever had.
Wow. What's the worst job you ever had?
The worst job I ever
That's a
had
good question.
was a construction job in Utah
Nice.
during the summertime with a guy who didn't believe in modern tools.
Oh,
And so it's like 100 degrees. I'm out there with a pickaxe, like trying to pickaxe the side of this wall, and it was just miserable.
And you're just like, that's how we used to do it when I was a kid.
Making $10 an hour.
Dude, I think back. I look the other day. I stumbled upon like just rent. I don't know why I saved it, but I had a check of my first warehouse job. I was making $9 an hour.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I hope I make $12. Like that would fix my life forever if I make $12.
I used to work at Harris, that graveyard shift. I would do the cleaning, and I got promoted to heavy duty, like polishing floors and everything. And they're like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna get a raise." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, dude, a raise!" And then they called me in the office, like, "Let's talk about your raise." I'm like, "All right." Like, yeah, we're gonna raise you. I'm expecting $1,
75 cents.
13 cents.
Dude, what?
I'm like, fuck your 13 cents, bro.
I would have walked out.
Yeah,
Man.
but it's those things you're just like when you're so young and you just
Yeah.
don't know. You're just like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
the hell?
I remember the first time I made $15 an hour, and I thought I made it. I
Yeah,
made it.
dude. I was at Cloud 9. I remember it's, but obviously you say this is the best job you've ever had. But can we say it's probably the hardest job you've ever had?
Not even close.
Really?
Really?
There have been a handful of very hard decisions that had to be made. But like, when I was in flooring, I was gone before everybody woke up. I was home after dinner. too tired to do anything on the weekends. I went from that to my wife works on the other side of Grape Day Park. Just yesterday, on her lunch break, we went and took a walk around the city fountain for like 30 minutes.
Aw.
My kids come to my office with me.
That's so
Everybody
cool.
at City Hall loves them. And at events, most likely you're not going to see just me. You're going to see my family.
Yeah.
And on top of that, this is an awesome city with
yeah.
awesome staff. And I am lucky right now to have the 4 other council members that I have, because nobody is like hyper political, trying to run for higher office. Everybody just wants to get stuff done.
Yeah.
But man, there's been some hard decisions.
Yeah.
And that's when it sucks.
I don't want to put you on the spot there, but what are hard mayoral decisions?
Okay. Before this last election, Escondido had a $12 million budget deficit, and it was going to go up to about $15 million. For a city that is already struggling to get anything done, has very little staff. Let me backtrack. 2020 COVID hits.
Yeah.
The federal government, they passed the American Rescue Plan Act. And what that did was give every local government, every school board, an enormous pot of money, one-time funds. Escondido got like $60 million. So we have this budget deficit that we're using this to plug the deficit. At the end of last year, the federal government comes back and says, by the way, any of those dollars you don't have spent or under contract, we're going to take back.
Nice.
So this
take back
looming
these-
budget deficit, you're talking, I just got a presentation on this. We would have closed a fire station, ended one ambulance service, lost a few police officers, forget public art, forget after-school programs, forget recreation, all the soccer, baseball, softball, all that stuff would have been gone. We would have had to cut all of that. So the decision was, do we put a sales tax increase on the ballot?
Right.
And especially for a Republican, Republicans are generally anti-tax.
Yeah.
And so I was put in this position where I ran and said, no new taxes. We're going to fix this. But the writing was on the wall. And so do you put a tax on the ballot? Do you not? What do you do? And that was probably the toughest decision I've made so far, is to put that sales tax on the ballot. But now, I think I mentioned to you before, this budget this year,
Yeah.
man, we're going to do so many good things. And we went from
So excited.
making all those cuts to like having $30 million extra dollars to invest back in the community.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy,
Amazing.
and it's a chess match where like you either go here or you go there, and if you make here or there, you're impacting lives.
100%.
Oh man.
And this is a reason for everybody, every one of your listeners needs to get involved in local government.
Yeah.
Get to know your city council, because the decisions I make affect all of your everyday lives.
Well, thanks for telling me that. Yeah, well, you want another water? No, you're right, though, because I think, obviously, you go to news, media, blah, blah, whatever, we all like to focus on the big picture. Oh, my God, this is happening there. That's happening there. But locally, literally, a tax, an additional tax, a reduction of police officers, just one ambulance just being taken out, like that affects me. Like, what if I need it?
What if we need it?
What if I need that extra cop? What if, that
100%.
that's literally going to affect me?
We talked earlier about what young people have to do in Escondido right now.
Yeah.
And one of the things we were going to have to do is close all those after school programs,
Yeah.
the baseball, the soccer, the softball, probably close a couple of parks. And like, that would have destroyed everybody's quality of life.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. It's and we look at it, and I'll be honest, like I said before, like every 4 years I'm very like hoorah, yeah, this and that. But after that I forget.
Yeah.
After that I'm like, yeah, whatever, dude. I don't. Yeah, cool, mayor. Hey, what's up, dude? And I dip.
And I think too, everybody gets so wrapped up in whatever's going on nationally, which is very easy to get emotionally invested in. But like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm right here with you. Like, we can
Yeah.
solve what's going on here now.
Yeah. No, and it's cool. I mean, obviously I feel very, I don't know, kind of spoiled that you're literally sitting here and I could just listen to it and be like, hey, Mayor, we're going to do something about that street light. You know what I mean? But I think it's cool. What are some of the fun things you've done? Maybe some of the things that you said, wow, that was really cool that I got to see this through,
Especially coming from Escondido. You're like, oh, wow.
Okay, I'll give you the biggest, most positive change that's been made that actually the news just broke 2 days ago.
Oh, hey, no.
Okay, so go back 2 years. They do what's called a point-in-time count, where they go out early one morning and they count how many homeless people are on the sidewalks. And that number determines, the number of homeless you have in your city. 2 years ago, that number shot up. They also changed the way they were counting, so it added a bunch. But in Escondido saw an enormous rise.
Wow.
2 days ago, we got the numbers for this past year, and we went from, 407 homeless people to about 300, a 25% reduction. And I can point to a handful of policies that I put in that help make that happen.
Wow.
So those are the cool things. Now, we still have a ton of work to do. So I tell everybody it's a cause for celebration right now, but there's still plenty more to do. But then on like the other side, I got to go. So there's a Korean War veteran that lives in Escondido, and he was a fighter pilot. He shot down something like 4 or 5 MiGs before he got shot down.
Wow.
Survived.
A badass.
Yeah, exactly. Lives
Real
in
Top
Escondido. And our congressman called me up and was like, hey, we're going to recognize this guy. We're going to do it down in San Diego at the Naval Base. We want you there. We want you to present a certificate. And we get there, and the Secretary of the Navy is there, generals, admirals, like all of the who's who of the Navy
top dogs
is there.
out there.
And they didn't call me on stage to do the certificate. And afterwards, they're like, oh, no, we're going to an admiral's house on base where you're going to present this in front of the Secretary of the Navy. So I got to go in an admiral's home right next to the secretary, give this certificate, recognize a local war hero.
Right.
And it's stuff like that. That is a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can't imagine, especially seeing someone like that. You just feel so little. You're like, dude, you're so much cooler than me.
You shot down airplanes. Like,
Yeah.
you're a fucking.
You've seen some real shit. I just count homeless people.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. I hate switching the subject over, but that's a big topic, and it's something you really run on is homelessness. Obviously knowing your history in the past, and I know there's some stories out there of you being in that situation as well, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So you find yourself, do you think you identify with them? Do you think you kind of not excuse them, but you understand their situation? Or do you think you totally see it a completely different way where you go, man, like I got out of it, they should too? Like, how does that work?
That's a good question. I was in and out of homelessness, and I guess here's what I try to do now. You have to learn to separate people, okay?
Right.
Because there is a small percentage of the people on the streets that you see who their rent just got too expensive.
Yeah.
They lost their job, whatever the case may be, and they are truly down on their luck.
Right.
But I think what we're seeing primarily in San Diego County and in California, so in the 12-step program, when you get sober, the first step is to admit that you have a problem and admit that your life has become unmanageable.
Right.
And I think what we're seeing out here is an epidemic of people who have lost the ability to manage their lives.
Right.
And they need more than just a home. And this is the battle in California. So my experience, when I got sober, when I got out of homelessness, my mom gave me a futon in her garage that I got to sleep in. And I was going to rehab, so my basic needs were met. Okay. And I think that that's what we need to be doing now. But in California especially, there's this movement. It's called Housing First, where the idea is that we can solve homelessness just by building housing.
Right.
The problem is you haven't dealt with the underlying issue. And I think that there are so many underlying issues being unaddressed with the folks you see in Escondido.
Right.
That's why you're not seeing any progress.
Okay.
But it's funny, when you talk about homelessness as somebody who is in office, who has lived it, everybody always says, oh, we need somebody with lived experience to talk about this. But my experience, in my opinion, goes against what California is pushing,
Right.
and what the majority of the electeds in San Diego County are pushing, that they don't want to hear that.
Right.
Right.
I think you're right. There is that, like you say, like everybody says, well, let's listen to them. You are, I guess, and have experience like them, and you say the different way around, you know? And I think, look, we're not a political podcast. We're not going to act like we know what the hell we're talking about, but we don't. But I am a citizen of this city. I do see it when I walk out. I live in an area where it's primarily pretty packed. But you're right. It is one of those things where there is the what we see outside of Escondido and what we see in the state level, it just doesn't work.
It's very easy for them to say, build homes. Let's build homes. But, like, why?
It's expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's like, why are they homeless? Why do, like,
Yeah.
let's target the real problem. You know, is it a drug problem? Is it, like, a financial problem? Is it
Let me start with this. When I got elected, there was no plan. The way this is supposed to work is the city council sets the vision, they set the direction, that's implemented through city staff. There was no vision, no direction, no policy, nothing. So the very first thing we did was craft a policy that said, this is our strategy for addressing homelessness. And one thing in particular that we had to change was any money that the city's going to spend, it's going to touch the people who are homeless here. So one of the other ways I break from the majority in the county is, the others will say, this is a regional problem and we need regional solutions, meaning Escondido, you build a homeless shelter, and San Diego, you can send your homeless people there.
Oof.
But the problem is when you have the city with the highest count in North County, you can't take in any more.
Yeah.
So we specifically stated we're going to focus on the people who are here now. Shortly after that, we made it illegal to camp in the parks and any public right-of-way, basically.
Right.
And we also banned living in RVs on public roads. That was a huge problem.
Ooh.
So at any given time, there was like 60 or 70 RVs all over the city, and that's where like the most crime happens. But again, that's just like policy, and that's really what's called enforcement.
Right.
Enforcement is only a very small part of it. When I got on, though, we didn't have any money to do anything. We couldn't invest in a shelter or anything else. So now that we've got those good policies laid, and again, I point to those to show it's working. We saw a 25% reduction.
Right.
But what the community wants, and I think you guys probably want, is you just don't want to see people sleeping on the sidewalk or in front of a business or whatever. And so the next logical step is to pay for a city-sponsored shelter and start giving people an alternative place to go.
That is such. I think you've taken the right steps and it's working. You know what I mean? It's obviously working. The numbers are there, but that step is a huge step. I mean, I don't know anything about politics, and that just seems like a huge project.
Oh yeah.
How does that happen?
Another solid question. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to buy all of the current shelter beds that are not being used. So like Escondido has 20 shelter beds at Interfaith. They're just empty right now.
Wait, what? Why?
They're just empty because Interfaith doesn't have the staff to take care of these people. So the next step we're going to buy those 20 beds. We're going to pay for the staff. So that's step one. After that, we're going to have a big, long public discussion on where we're going to put a homeless shelter and whether or not we want to build something new, put up a big tent like you see in other cities, or if we want to buy an existing property somewhere and remodel it. But, those are the big decisions that are going to have to be made at the city council level.
That's way above my pay grade. Like, I can't imagine making those decisions because we've seen it go different ways in different cities,
Here's the thing. I went to the city of Huntington Beach. Everybody was talking about Huntington Beach after I got elected. You got to see what Huntington Beach is doing.
They're homeless.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I went up there, and they had similar size city, similar problems, similar homeless numbers. So I go up there. I went up there with the police chief, the city manager, and some other people to go tour their shelter. And I had this thought, like, I'm going to know when we're close because you'll start to see homeless people loitering around, kind of like you do at any shelter.
Yeah, of course.
Not a single person. Not one. I didn't even know we had pulled up to the shelter. Did not look like a typical shelter.
Wow.
They had 160 beds, I think, and they had everything. Storage, showers, kitchen, bathrooms, beds, dog runs. People could have their pets there, open space. I mean, it was amazing.
Wow.
And what they said was, we did the enforcement side of this. Look, we're gonna make it illegal to camp in the park or the sidewalk or whatever, but we don't want to write tickets. We don't want to get people in trouble criminally.
Right.
So we're going to give you an alternative place to go. And so it's worked out very well for them. And I think most cities who take that same approach, we're going to have zero tolerance, but we're going to give you an alternative. That's what we're going to do here.
That's awesome.
That's
I think
great.
it's one of those things where it's such a what do you call, like when you see a problem you're kind of ignoring it. Like we all see the homelessness and we all kind of go, it's not the best part of my city, but it's there. You know what I mean? And we kind of look over it. Like I've gotten to a point where if I see something like that, it's become part of the landscape. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to feel like I've succeeded unless it's visibly, noticeably different. And that's, everybody talks about solving homelessness, like curing the underlying causes. That's not what the mayor is supposed to do. The mayor is supposed to get people off the streets. And from there, it's on the service providers to do the rest. But I won't feel like I've succeeded until it's noticeably different.
Damn. That's good.
That's another thing I was going to bring up. I'm like, it's not only just giving them a place to live, it's also helping them a way to get off the street.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the other side of this battle is I've got to push back against all kinds of crazy ideas. So last year, the county says, we're going to start this program, and we're going to have one headquartered in Escondido, and we're going to have this mobile van, and we're going to deliver needles, crack pipes, weed pipes, gauze, condoms, and all this stuff. We're going to give it to the homeless people
Like
as
a one-stop
needed.
shop.
And the idea is this is a way to slow the spread of some STDs. But the problem is now you're just enabling a bunch of people to continue to live this lifestyle.
Canada going through that right now?
Oh yeah,
Dude,
Yeah.
look at
that's where we're
Oregon,
headed.
look at Washington, look at all these other cities that also did that. Look, I get the initiative. I'm not gonna lie. Back then, it seems like, oh well, don't hurt yourself with bad stuff, hurt yourself with good stuff. But at the end of the day, I think the root of the problem is you're still hurting yourself.
100%, and you're not solving anything. And you mentioned Canada and these other states. The next step after they call it harm reduction, that program I just mentioned, it's called harm reduction. The next step is, quote, safe injection sites. So they're going to start building buildings where you can just go use drugs. And again, you're not solving the underlying issue.
Dude, it's to put it in terms so people can understand. It's like the Mexican mom that's like, oh, if he's drinking at the house where I can take care of him.
Yeah, but your son's still an alcoholic.
Still an alcoholic.
It's tough. And you say that now. Was that shut down? Did you say something about it, or?
I don't believe the county has started the program, but the problem is, so at city council, I asked my colleagues to support me in sending an official letter from the city pushing back or opposing that harm reduction program, and the county basically just gave us the middle finger. They don't care.
Yeah, no.
And it's crazy that they can just set up shop in a city and be like, we're doing this, sorry.
It's just a Band-Aid over the problem.
Oh, for sure.
If oh man, that's
But this is why we need to have, mayors like you to come on places like this so we can let people know.
You know what's funny is that earlier you said my mom took care of my basic needs, my house and a futon, right?
I had a futon. I was allowed to use the bathroom and shower, and I was allowed to use the kitchen. But otherwise, I wasn't allowed in the house.
But that was at your lowest of low. But that puts you in a place to either, it's like a fight or flight. Either you're gonna get out of it and do better for yourself, or it's not gonna end up right. And I feel like if your mom, for example, would have been like, hey, here's a clean needle, just don't overdose so you don't die, that would change and spiral your life completely in a different direction.
For sure. And this issue is so political that, like, I'm painted as a bad guy for not wanting to participate in these programs. I'm not for building expensive housing for all of these people. On the flip side, like, I really care. I really do care.
Yeah.
And I feel like as society, we should be helping people meet their basic needs. That's just like a human to human thing.
Right.
And building a shelter, giving people some stability and some services. You got your food, your shower. We're going to connect you with jobs. And I feel bad for the people who are homeless now because, like, we're in California, dude. Even if you get sober, even if you take the time to get clean and work the program, you're not going to be able to afford a place to rent.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a mountain to overcome in this state. But unfortunately, right now we're just doubling down on approaches that don't work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like there are approaches that they look pretty, It does kind of make people, it makes you feel like they're doing something about it.
Yeah.
But
What's that program called?
Harm reduction.
Harm reduction. It sounds nice. It sounds sweet.
yeah, it sounds
It's
cool. It's
harm
like, hey, we're
reduction,
going to
yeah.
reduce the amount. We're not going to solve it, but it'll be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's so
tough.
crazy.
It's tough. And like I said, it's one of the major platforms you ran on. So it's one of those things that you really, I feel like, have at a personal level know it a little bit more. How many of those people that are actually promoting this or putting this, how many of those have actually been homeless?
Yeah.
I've met one other elected official in the county who was homeless, and we think very similarly. So it's not common, but man, the narrative is just like this is a housing issue, and that's it. So we just need housing to solve it. And in the meanwhile, do you know how much it costs to build an affordable housing unit? You have any idea? Take a guess. A studio apartment, how much?
I'm gonna say, I don't know, $1 million.
Not quite that high, but
Okay.
an affordable housing complex opened in Escondido. It's 55 units. These are studio apartments. Each unit cost $550,000
Each
to
unit.
build. Each unit.
Ooh.
And then,
I was saying the complex, so.
well, not what's 550 times 50 units? I don't know how much, 20-something $million. But then the people move in and they require constant care. So it's not just a one-time investment.
Yeah,
And that's
of
what I'm
course.
saying. Yeah. This is not a sustainable approach. We can't afford this. We definitely need to do a better job of helping people meet their needs. And now, fortunately, we talked about passing the tax. Now I can actually do something.
Now you have tools to do it with.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. It's funny that you say that because, the homeless problem is something that I think we all end up stumbling upon either at the store, in the parks and stuff like that. We can't avoid it. But one of the moments where the three of us, got hit the most was last Christmas. He dressed up as Santa Claus.
Oh yeah.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah.
Dude.
And we ended up going around town, just handing candy canes, just trying to spread some cheer. And it makes for a good video. We always want to promote stuff like that. And we showed different areas of town, right? But we started first by going to the Dutch Bros across the street from here. Right behind it is an interfaith program for women and children. We did not mean this at all. And not at one point did we think that we were going to start our vlog there. But all those kids ran from all sections, and they all ran because Santa's right there. Santa's right there.
That's awesome.
And we didn't mean to do that. Like, we didn't try to do some charity or we didn't do anything. But they all ran out, and we're like, dude, there's kids here?
Yeah.
We didn't know. Like, we had no idea. And those kids are in situations that if programs like that, of course, women and children are priority in certain, programs. But we got to see it firsthand, and, you see the need and you see how they're living and you go, like, it just hurts. It warms up your heart. You're just like, this is the reality. There's children out there that unfortunately find themselves in a homeless situation. You know what I mean? And it just impacted so much,
I think that's why I'm hell-bent on getting a shelter built, is especially for women, children. There should never be any veterans on the street.
No.
And so much of what you see is kind of just ones and twos out on the road. Looks like middle-aged people who probably are on drugs. I don't know, but the families are out there. And in San Diego County, there's a lot of homeless families. It's very unfortunate.
We had a situation a few weeks back where we lost one of our uncles who was... We didn't lose him as in, like, he passed away. We literally lost him. Like, we couldn't find him. And he's alcoholic, has his life completely spiraled after a situation. And my cousin and I, we know that, unfortunately, he was at a hospital. So after the hospital, he didn't have no one to talk to. His phone was off. They couldn't. It was Don. What is it? Joe Doe when they register you.
John Doe.
John Doe. That's what it is. He was John Doe. So then, for some reason, we ended up finding out that he was at the hospital. We go to the hospital. They said that they took him to a facility in downtown. We go to downtown. We go to the facility and said, we didn't have space for him, so we let him go. This man has dementia, has, mental problems, has physical problems. Talked to a security guard. I guess he was hiding behind a bush because he was scared that someone was going to do something to him. So we unfortunately had to go on foot and look around. And you see, even with programs down there, but you see the amount of people that are out there. You're like, how the heck are we doing this? And you go across the street, there's $1 million mansion. And you go to the other side, you go like, I get it. It's not that man's responsibility. But what I'm saying is, like, we can do it.
100%.
We can help,
My story can be inspiring, but growing up in Escondido, my best friend down the street from me, we sort of got involved in all that stuff at the same time. And I got sober, I don't know, a year into sobriety, and I bumped into him. And it was like, he was actually homeless. I bumped into him right outside here, actually, on Washington.
Wow.
And just sort of half fried. And it was like a moment of realization for me. But I got out of it. He's out of it now. And the thing is, we can get these people out of it.
Right.
We just need to do a better job of, strategically approaching it.
Yeah. I think Escondido can be an example for the rest of the country. And I think having you kind of lead us in that way, and having you kind of have that vision, because I feel like for a long time we didn't even have an idea. Like for a long time we didn't even have someone that would even bring this topic up. It was just, like I said, it was part of the landscape. So the fact that this is and obviously we talked about like the issues nationwide, but the whole country's dealing with this. So if we end up being an example, I would be extremely proud to say, like, I'm from Escondido. I'm from that city that figured it out.
For sure.
And is doing a lot better. You know what I mean?
My favorite picture of me and my family ever was the night I got sworn in, and I'm standing there with my arm raised and my family's next to me, and I was so nervous. I didn't even know what I said, but apparently I promised I would leave the city better than I found it. And so it's front page of the paper with my quote, "New mayor promises to leave the city better than he found it." And for me, like I said, success when it comes to homelessness, like, it's cool. We saw a 25% reduction. I would like to see another 25% next year. And if I'm lucky enough to get reelected, I would like to make it so that people are like, what happened?
Yeah.
It's
Let's
good.
Let's get you reelected.
And it's an issue that is ongoing, and unfortunately there's, just how, they say there's someone new finding themselves in this place, but to be a city that would be that, it would be such a good thing, and I would be very proud to say I'm from here.
We're trailblazers here.
Oh, yeah, man, dude. I'm hoping, man, because we're doing podcasts in a garage for some reason. I don't know. The mayor's in my house, and I never thought that was gonna happen. So we're definitely doing things different around here.
For sure. I love it, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you. We appreciate you again. We've said it enough, but I think we appreciate it. Do you have a question?
Actually, yeah, I have a few questions I want to ask you. This is my turn. All right, I got a pretty important question.
He prepped.
I did.
I guess we gotta cut out the podcast.
You tell me when we're done here.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I got some rapid fire questions right now. Ready?
All right, let's do it.
Make sure you read them beforehand. You don't want to know.
Yeah, dude, my dyslexia is gonna kick in pretty fast. All right, ready? Tacos or tortas?
Tacos.
Nice. Horchata or Jamaica?
I'm ashamed to say I don't know the difference. That's so bad.
Very bad. We're gonna have to take you. We're gonna have to take.
I know
you.
I've had them both, but I don't know the difference. I like them both.
Horchata's the white one. Jamaica's the red one.
Then the white one.
Horchata.
For sure.
Okay.
Good.
Carne asada fries or carne asada nachos?
Fries all day, every day.
California. Yep.
God damn. Red tamales or green tamales?
Green.
Oh,
wow.
I'm a green sauce too. I like green sauce on my fries and burritos.
That's good.
Yeah, okay.
That's solid.
Green pozole or red pozole?
Don't know that I've ever had it.
The one with the corn husk?
It's like a stew, like a soup.
I don't think I've ever had it.
Ooh,
You never
brother.
had pozole?
Oh,
No.
brother.
Dude,
Wow.
brother.
We gotta put you on
Christmas
game.
is gonna be.
We gotta
dope
put you
for
on
you.
game for
Yeah,
sure.
I'm embarrassed to be honest with you.
It's okay. We'll put you on game. If you,
We'll get
I'm
you
telling you, it'll get you the re-election. Just we'll get you some pozole. Yeah.
Okay, now some Masco questions. Alberto's or Gilberto's?
Gilberto's.
Nice.
Drive-through, Rose,
Nice.
10 p.m. every night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About to hit that up right now. Dixon Lake or Lake Hodges?
Oh, Dixon for sure.
Nice, dude. Right by them. Peterson's Donuts or Yum Yum Donuts?
Peterson's.
Nice.
Wow.
Staple. I like Peterson's.
It's been a favorite since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Kit Carson Park or Grape Day Park?
Oh, that's tough.
When are we gonna see the mayor and a softball team?
Dude, that'd be a good one. No?
A few years ago, I signed up for a softball team.
Nice.
I struck out every single game. Very last game was a team we'd already played. And when I got up to bat, there were 2 outs, and I swung and just nicked the ball right over second base. And the other team was cheering for me because they knew how bad I sucked.
Were you the mayor at the time?
No.
Okay.
I was about to
Now
say,
you'll get a lot of cheers.
Dude, you put me in the mayor role and we're like, don't strike me out, or else
It was very
Repo your
embarrassing.
Yeah, you're gonna strike out, and they're gonna go to first.
That's all right.
But I would say Grape Day Park.
Yeah, nice. That's
Right
a
by
good
the
one.
office.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by the office.
Yeah, nice.
The fountain. All right, last question. It's a 3-parter. Either Orange Glen High School, San Pasqual High School, or Esco High School.
Don't make them do that. That's tough. That's choosing. Say Valley.
Strong, loyal, true. Escondido High School.
We're OGs.
Yeah,
OGs,
we're
dog.
OGs. Yeah, we're from Orange Glen High School, so we got a little. Yeah, that's cool though. Oh man, Dan, you had to go with the tough questions, dude.
Escondido
Why'd you
was
make him pin him that way? You know, fucking like 80% of our following is Orange Glen
OG.
alumni.
If it helps, when I was on the school board, I spent most of my time at Orange Glen.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That makes that helps. That helps.
Yeah.
You should have added Valley High School. Bro.
Valley High School is just a funnel for all of them.
It all falls in there.
They all trickle down there.
Yeah.
You want to get reelected? Valley High School.
No, I think it's awesome that you come on here. I can't wait to do more things. I think you are very down to earth.
Thank you.
Coming down here, you're extremely relatable. I hope this helps you in many ways. I hope we can work together to kind of put you out there because you've done a lot of things. I think you do very much the traditional media works. You do a lot of podcasts. But I feel like I think we can offer something that maybe you haven't done before. You know, we're big in the Latino community. We have a better following there. I think getting to know you over the surface, I think they might have an idea of you, but getting to know you is a much different, aspect. And I think I hope this helps people get to know you and know that ultimately we are in good hands and that if we keep this up, we can be an example city. So I appreciate you coming on here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that I missed or maybe something you want to promote or talk about?
Look, the only other thing I would say is, there's the issues like homelessness and budgets and all of that stuff. But one of the things we're pushing right now is arts, culture, and entertainment.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And if any of your followers haven't been outside in a while or been to an event or a festival or any of those things, we are pushing hard to make Escondido a destination.
Yeah. No, I mean, the Mexican independence, the Cinco de Mayos, all those
Ups and downs.
up.
I'm so excited for that. I won't skate. It's just the vibe.
Yeah.
It's the vibe.
I mean, Cruising Grand is coming.
Grand,
Sure.
Yeah, that's going to
we
be
did
huge.
Grant in the street. Dude.
We want Escondido to be a community. So I guess pay attention to that. And it was great to get to know you guys. If anybody else
thank you.
want to get to know me, I'm an open book.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, really.
You
It really is.
Yeah, I think it'll encourage if you watch this, you went all the way through. First of all, appreciate you. Thank you so much for going all the way through and watching this. But take this as an example, and if you have a project or you have something that you want to bring up, the mayor's more than willing to at least entertain the idea
anytime.
and then just kind of talk about it. It's one of those things that we're very fortunate that we have someone that is willing to go grassroots and talk to the people.
If you guys don't believe us, we're in the garage.
Yeah, you guys have seen our previous episodes, so we're not very political and mayor worthy, but we were very fortunate to have you. So
No, I appreciate any opportunity to get to tell my story, connect with people. So this means a lot to me. So thanks for having me.
Thank
I
you.
just want to say, because I'm not. This is the only political guy out here. I'm really just like, I see what people put out in the news, and I'm like, I want no part of it. So I'm far away from political. Hearing your story and what you want to do with Escondido and your ideas that you want to do, it just brings me a burst of wow, there's actually someone out here that's from my city, wants to help my city, and wants to help my city grow. And I'm like, you're changing my view on political
Changing your
views.
political view.
Yeah.
Like I said before, man, everything I do affects all of your lives.
It does, dude.
The only I
You're
guess
like,
the next
you're like Thanos.
the next
Homelessness.
logical step is for us to talk politics on the golf course.
Let's not. Do not hype these guys.
Yo, Marco, shut up. You had your time.
Dude,
Now it's our
You're
turn.
the caddy.
That's
I
where
know.
the decisions are made.
Yeah,
Golf course.
yeah.
Bro, we just had a buddy of ours go practice with us, and because he's into construction and he's working on his company, and he's like, I gotta learn golf because all the business gets done in the golf course. That's where you make connections.
True story.
I told him yeah, bro, you got 3 hours to convince this guy to work for you, to work with you.
Yeah.
You know?
Now we got to convince the mayor.
Yeah.
to give us free membership.
I don't know about free membership.
Yeah.
But we do have a pardon on the way, so we're
Yeah.
there.
Oh, for
Hell
sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be rocking. I'm gonna put that shit on a chain.
It'd be like Flavor Flav.
It's in a
Flavor
gold. It's in a gold frame.
Oh, dude, I'm so funny.
There's no way, bro.
Oh,
There's no way.
Don't do
I'm
this.
gonna do. You thought I was cocky now? Wait till I get a pardon from the mayor and be like, "Yo, homie, back up. That's my parking spot. just park in front of Costco, bro. You know how crazy it is to park in Costco?
I hate to say this, but Costco's in San
San
Marcos.
Marcos.
So
Don't call me if your car gets towed.
Yeah, this guy.
Dude, I got my car towed at the Civic Theater.
Right here?
Yeah, on 4th of July.
At the Center for the Arts.
Yeah.
That's because it was the 4th of July.
Yeah, but they put signs all over the, like, hey, don't park here because they were going to use it for the floats and stuff.
And you parked there.
I parked on the street. And and they closed the street.
It wasn't me.
Yeah,
it wasn't
I
me.
know it wasn't. No, look,
I was in
don't
charge
need-
of that part.
Look, I got my car back. I paid it. We're fine. Like, I'm okay. I'm not gonna beg the mayor for a pardon.
But off camera,
Yeah.
we have to talk.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I got it towed. So I was like, fuck. And I got it towed there, and then the apartments here, they towed it as well one time.
But that's the apartments. though.
Yeah,
They're-
so I can't do anything about that. But
You know where I live. They'll tow you in a second over there.
yeah. Oh, I've
crazy.
gotten there too.
Yeah.
I've gotten there too. Yeah. One time I was inside and the guy was backing into my car. I was like, hey, I'm leaving. Yeah, it really
Yeah, they
happened.
don't mess around.
Yeah, they don't fuck around. But it makes good, you know. Other than that,
Oh, by the way, I'm sorry. I'll be in trouble if I don't say this. But our friend's mom.
Oh yeah.
Our
oh,
friends
yeah.
so
Our
time
friend-
out. Blur, make this gray, please.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So my mom said when we opened this podcast that we're not allowed to talk about her. Like, we're not allowed to talk about her. She doesn't want her
Why?
business out there because she's
a Mexican mom.
Yeah, Hispanic
All right.
thing. Yeah, we're like, don't talk about me, don't tell me, whatever. But so we never say my mom or our mom. We always say my friend's mom. We actually say it in Spanish. We say la mamá de mi amigo.
Yeah.
Because we know she'll listen and she'll know it's her.
Okay.
Yeah, but everybody else we go, oh, it's my friend's mom.
My
Yeah.
friend's mom.
Yeah.
Well, my friend's mom wants to say that she's very happy of how Escondido's been moving. We've been here pretty much our whole life.
Yeah.
And she's like, she's never felt safer. She's never felt as a community till like just a few years, like honestly till you started coming in, till you took over. So because we've all been through that, like ghetto Escondido phase,
For sure.
You know, like drive-bys. You know, so and so got shot.
The dark days.
The dark days.
Yeah. We still live on Mission. So.
Yeah, right next to Elders. So you know.
Okay.
Yeah. Went to Mission Middle School.
Honestly,
Grant.
that's the best compliment I can get.
Yeah.
It's just from everyday people saying, I'm noticing some change. So tell your friend's mom I said, what up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, ya ve, ama. Ya ve, ama.
No, la mamá de mi amigo.
Ya ve la mamá de mi amigo. El mayor dice que somos, por favor.
Yeah. But yeah, she was like, the first time Marco brought up, like, we might interview the mayor, like a few months ago, and then she's like, well, tell him this, that I'm happy, like this and this and that, and we're like, all right, and
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Other than that, remember, you are the fourth carnal, familia favela. Muchas gracias por escuchar. Peace. All right, Mayor, I need that part now.
yeah, dude. Do you want my email or your home address?
Actually, just text me your first and last name.
Dude,
Don't do
yes,
that.
bro. If you don't do it,
Dang, don't do that.
Pableezy production.
Let him finish!